Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel for another collab between myself and Miles. So we are now 2 videos deep in our Doctor Who Objects series, in which we look at different objects, different pieces of merchandise that sum up a particular year for us, for every year that we've been a fan. We've done part 1, we've done part 2, which was recorded today as well, but you'll have seen it beforehand. And now we're on to part 3. So what, 2016, 17, 18 and 19.
Yeah.
Third part of this. So we have previously covered all the years before that, obviously, when there was lots of merchandise, and particularly in the early years, lots of figures and things, and then kind of moving into a time when there was less stuff like that, but other things came onto the scene, you know, a new series, Big Finish stuff, Titan Comics, etc., Partworks, whatever, and our first cases of buying magazines and different bits and pieces like that. 2016 then, so the year of national moments.
The year of national moments and no Doctor Who. Moments. Only one episode of Doctor Who, and that was at Christmas.
Yeah.
We had Class.
Class.
I don't think either of us are going to have anything related to that. This is when you pull out, the Class novels.
Well, yeah. I suppose there are the novels, aren't there? There's the novels and the DVD/Blu-ray.
And the soundtrack.
That's on the soundtrack, which is actually very, very good, I have to say.
I'll admit, Blair Moore is
I got that, I think, in lockdown. I think they were doing a special offer, or they had some copies left on silver screen of that, plus the little extra bonus disc, which contains a bit more music that you couldn't fit on the main album.
There's a reason they decided to really push that, because I think it was the best part of that show.
It probably was, to be honest. I'd concur with that. And I was going back actually the other day and listening to some of that, and it's really great, and kind of doing like a playlist and kind of trying to put everything in order, because it's a bit confusing, because like, the main album is like in order and the extra album is in order, but then there's no way of like knowing how to like mesh them together.
Sure.
But yeah.
No
one cares about that.
Yes.
Back to Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So yes, 2016. So what was going on this year, really?
Well, we were doing our GCSEs.
We were.
Yes, we were. Yeah, we were.
Yes,
we were.
we
There was
were.
GCSE year. Yeah,
That's right.
So there was that exciting summer of having finished GCSEs. You don't have to think about A levels yet. It's all
very true.
done.
Yes, it's coming.
It's a very nice summer.
Coming back to me now. Yeah.
It's all coming back to me. So there was some exciting bits. I don't know what you've chosen yet, so I don't want to mention my other picks that I haven't chosen just yet.
Okay.
Just in case anything did overlap. I don't think it would.
Shall I?
Do you want to go first?
Bring mine out. Yeah. I mean, well, actually, there are kind of 2 things that I could pick for this. I've got one of them here. One of them I'll ask you to get hold of in a minute, just from over there. But this was the year, well, technically end of 2015 actually, the year that the 12th Doctor finally got his own sonic screwdriver. So, in a new series merchant stuff, it was few and far between, but character options, up to that point at least, never let us down with new sonic screwdriver toys and stuff. We're still waiting for the shooty one as we speak, but hopefully
it won't be long.
Hopefully sooner rather than later. Yeah. But yeah, this came around I think in about May. Again, a bit of a weird distribution one, because I think like places like Argos weren't carrying stuff like this anymore, but I think Toys R Us was one of the main places to get it from, and online as well. So yeah, I think that's where mine came from. I remember getting one, I think reserving it online, and had a few of them on the shelf and stuff. A really, really nice sonic screwdriver toy. Probably maybe the latest 14th Doctor one is maybe the best toy that they've ever done, but this comes close as well, you know. A lovely design, probably a little bit too embellished and a bit too over designed.
That's why I didn't get it at the time.
Oh, did you not? Okay.
No, I didn't,
yeah.
and I regret it, because the more I see it in person when I'm here and I see that, I'm like, as a toy, it really works.
As a toy, as a piece, you know, regardless of what you think of it as a Sonic, yeah, I mean, and with the different settings as well, you know, you've got your one.
Oh, it's got batteries in.
Yeah, it's quite loud as well. It's that one,
like that,
and then that one, which I think is how it appears when he first tests it out. I think, and that insert shot where it's not really him, is it? It's like someone else.
Because he catches it, and you can see it's clearly a PNG image of him, and he's just obviously Capaldi's just there like that in the air. But
he always like holds it kind of like
he holds it in a good way. He has a good way of holding it. You can tell that he maybe Capaldi slightly regretted having the shades, because when he gets his Sonic in Series 10, he's loving it. He holds a Sonic in such a nice... It's like an instrument. It's a scientific instrument, the way he holds it, and he sort of flourishes it in nice ways. I have a lot of issue with ways that doctors hold and use their sonic screwdriver, but the way Capaldi uses it...
Have you seen that little clip of Shooty 1 month to go from the Disney Plus
So he
Instagram?
clicks it at the screen.
What do you reckon to that?
I like that. I think that's
Okay.
simple enough. No, it's none of that. I think that's. I have a bit of umbrage with that.
Okay.
But I like it. It felt okay.
That was okay. That was yeah.
6 out of 10. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It's not up there with Capaldi just yet, but give it time.
Yeah, sky remote.
It's funny actually looking at these, because I've actually seen that another company, I don't know what they're called, have started to do their own version of these.
So, yeah.
Oh wow! Is there a story about this?
Well, I think eBay and stuff is currently flooded with counterfeits and bootlegs of... I think it started off with the 14th Doctor's one, the Chrome version of that. Well, actually, both versions, I think. And obviously that was very sought after when it first came out, and I think people kind of caught wind of that in the factory or whatever. And so there are now versions of that, the Chrome-plated version or whatever it is, that aren't
Legit.
official or legit, yep. And then I think around the same time... So I struggle with this to know what is real and what isn't. I
Same,
think
yeah. On a daily basis.
like 720, the company that Underground Toys became, possibly released
own.
versions of the Tennant one, the Smith one, and this. You might have seen on eBay or maybe not. It's like in kind of box packaging.
It's got the Jodie logo on
Got
it.
the Jodie logo
Yeah.
on it, the blue silver
That's
star guide.
that's the one I've seen, and because there's a
Yeah.
version that looks identical to the character one, and there's one that's a chrome finish.
So there's a version of this with chrome finish, and then I think rather than painted blue, it's like moulded in blue, so it's kind of a bit cheaper in that regard. And yeah,
But it has a red setting.
It has a red setting. It does. Yeah, I think officially it's a bootleg, but I suppose if it does the job,
Yeah, exactly.
to some extent.
Yeah.
But yeah, there seems to be loads of those on eBay at the moment, like the 14th Doctor one, this one, the 11th, the 10th. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that like it's kind of got to this point where you can't tell, what's real and what's not. But
I do really like it. It's a great toy.
it's a really nice one. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, these days, and perhaps this is part of the reason why there's been so many bootlegs, but the original one, in packaging, you're paying a pretty penny.
Yeah, exactly.
For one of those.
Yeah.
I guess it was the one that was produced the least, that they made the...
Just like Capaldi's TARDIS as well, the flight control one they did.
Yes.
I mean, that went off shelves very quickly, didn't it? Yeah.
But could you just grab for me, I forgot to bring it as well,
Oh.
the box that is just there in that corner, because I do just want to give a shout out just
This.
here.
Oh,
To another item that came out in 2016,
heck
the
me.
13 Doctors set. I mean, yeah.
I
centerpiece there.
I remember when that was it San Diego Comic Con that it was.
I suppose it would have been, wouldn't it? Yeah,
photographed
that
at.
summer. Yes.
And I saw that, and I was just... I knew that I could never get it, because it was a very expensive piece, wasn't it?
Of course, yeah.
But I looked at it, and I was very envious. I thought, wow, I mean... has it got pictures of them on the back?
It has, yep.
Look at them all. I mean, it was I think what did it for me was Tom in this costume, sexy, and this sexy
And
outfit.
the best figure of them all, which is Paul McGann with jam on his face.
Paul McGann with jam on his face after
highlight
a very
of the set.
That's that great moment in Night of the Doctor when he eats a jam tart and oh no, it's all over my face. Andy Davison, and Pertwee. I mean, there's just nothing about this lot that maybe these boys could have been improved a little bit better, but
Sure.
it's a beautiful range. It's a beautiful range, and the first 6 in particular are just
really nice item. I think I've probably told the story before, but so this retailed at £100. Again, it was one of those ones that you could
Toys
only
R Us,
really
was
get
it?
in Toys R Us or maybe Forbidden Planet, but it felt quite limited. And I reserved one. This would have been in the autumn of that year, 2016. There we go. Yeah. Oh my god. So let's do this.
There we go.
And some of the information, by the way, on this is not correct.
No,
Like,
it is not correct.
12th Doctor in his outfit from Deep Breath.
Time Monster.
Yeah.
That's not true. Yeah. But
And with an image from Day of the Daleks.
yeah.
But
Anyway.
yeah, retailed for £100. I did an hour about it to begin with. I was like, oh, I want this. It's so limited.
In this day and age, 100 quid for 12 figures.
Yeah.
That's you're paying
when you look at it that way.
Less than a tenner for each one.
And nowadays, on a secondary market like the Sonic, these go for quite a bit more. I think you can't really get hold of them. Like there are a few that crop up in the US or whatever, but not really in this country. So you're paying for overseas shipping and stuff. But yeah, reserve one for 100 quid. And then it got to the day I was picking it up from Toys R Us, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing a Christmas offer where spend 100 quid to get 20% off." Well, this retail for £99.99.
Oh yeah,
so it's back in the day when they had loads of old stock lying around stuff. So I grabbed a Paul McGann Sonic to bring it back to him. It was like a £5 or something.
Nice.
Lapped it on top. So I got this and the Sonic together for like 85 quid, which
that's actually pretty decent
for what it is. For what it is.
Yeah.
But a really nice set. I never got the 11 Doctors one at the time. I got it.
Really?
Fact.
Oh, you hadn't got. Oh, wow.
No, so it's like
this is a big thing for you then, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I didn't get it as well, because I thought, well, I've got the 11 Doctors one, and I loved that so much. Could have put that on the list for mine, to be honest. It's a fantastic set.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so
beautifully presented and displayed.
So clever.
As well.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
nice.
I love those Toys R Us
Very
sets
classy.
they used to have as well. That's the same kind of vein as
oh yeah, like the big TARDIS ones.
Yeah, the series based ones. Yeah,
very nice.
Very good.
So that's 2016. For me, so I wonder then for you, maybe a big finishy type thing.
Well, that's the thing. So I chose a big finish last time, the Fifth Doctor box set. So I didn't want to pick one so close, but I could have picked very easily 2016 10th Doctor arrived in Big Finish, and I remember I pre-ordered the 3 adventures, and I think they came out just after we'd finished GCSEs.
I remember it kind of coinciding with that kind of May. Yeah,
it's a beautiful summer. What also came out as well, which I kind of think I should have brought instead.
Okay.
Doctor Who magazine hit 500 issues.
Oh, of course.
So we got that beautiful cover of Capaldi recreating the very first cover image. Yeah, if you can find that somewhere.
Got a sealed version here. I think my gran got me this, just kind of randomly. I think she saw it in the shop and thought, oh, it's like a landmark issue, so I'll buy an extra copy in case it goes up in value. I think they're actually pretty easy to get hold of these days.
I remember them doing a subscribe and you'll get a free souvenir issue. I think they might have had quite a few knocking around.
Yeah, like a lockdown or something, wasn't there?
I remember the run up to it as well. They did sort of mock-ups of each landmark cover with Peter Capaldi. It was very exciting. It was really clever, and it had a whole souvenir, like another issue, like basically 2 issues in here. One of which was just going through all the beautiful
guides,
covers,
all the covers and everything. Yeah,
really, so really nice. It could well have been that, because I remember when we finished our GCSEs, I think that maybe it was just before actually.
I mean, it's cover days July, cover days July, so like May or June.
It was around the time that things were finishing up, and I think I was like, right, I can tuck into this and enjoy.
Now you say enjoy that. It brings back some memories.
Yeah, very nice. But I didn't go for that. Instead, I went for something which we've already talked about in the last video. But I've picked an issue of The Complete History. I've gone for this one, which was my first one that came out this is one of the ones that came out in 2016.
Yes.
I remember resisting because, like we were saying, the whole part work thing. That first issue came out for $1.99, and I thought, if I get this, I'm gonna be sucked in, and there's no way out. So I resisted until my cousin asked for one of these for his birthday. I think it was a Troughton one, we went to a Forbidden Planet to look for it, and we found it. And while we were there, I saw a load of the other ones, and I was like, God, they are nice. They are really nice. Or maybe I'll get just one. Maybe I'll get the first Davison issue, because Castrovalve was quite a special story to me, so got that. And then it kind of spiraled off. I haven't got all of them, but I've got, I'd say, around 20 or 30 of them. And I could use them as an excuse for my dissertation as well. I said, well, I have to get all the Tom Baker ones now, because I've got to do research. But yeah, so just another little shout out and a bit of praise for them. Beautifully designed, beautifully made, just gorgeous. And we've already said our piece about them, but no harm in saying it again, because I just adore them. I think they're so beautiful. The Lee Johnson, is it Lee Johnson?
I think so.
His artwork is just beautiful. They always smell glorious as well.
Yes.
Big shout out. Absolutely love those. And I had a real hit in 2016 of just cherry picking my favourite ones and the ones I want to get. And
do you have sort of like focus on particular eras then? Do you have like a few from?
I said.
Davison ones.
I'll get all the Davison
ones. Yeah.
And I don't think I have. I think I only got half of them in the end. But I had a similar thing for Tennant as well. I thought, I'll try and get a load of them. But it kind of ended up just being a sporadic, just get any that really take your fancy. And also I just, if I saw one in a shop, I would probably get it anyway. Like I got the Matt Smith one, which had Let's Kill Hitler and Night Terrors, and I don't really like that era, but I thought, I'll have it anyway because it's there. But yeah, gorgeous,
wonderful,
era, and has to be given a shout out, I'd say.
Very, very nice. The history. So moving into 2017, we had a bit more Doctor Who on TV and stuff. The final run for Peter Capaldi's Doctor, Series 10. Bill Potts on the scene, Nardole as well. Nardole.
Yes.
And again with figures and merchandise and stuff, it was a little bit dead, a little bit dry, but there were one or two items that did come out around this time. Slightly overdue, perhaps. But they're also quite timely because they featured miniature versions of this new Sonic that we've just discussed, which this figure is actually just lost in that bag. I'll have to find afterwards.
Amazing.
So we had the two 12th Doctors here. So that one I think officially from Before the Flood, if we'll stand up. And then this one from The Girl Who Died.
Yeah.
So the fact they have the Sonics is kind of makes them a little bit inaccurate, but still really nice figures. Do you remember when these came out and they were like being teased, I think, on the Underground Toys Twitter? Very bizarre.
Showed like a sight, like an arm or elements.
Because there was the Tuxedo 10th Doctor at the same time.
Yes.
I think they teased him first, and they showed like a bit of his bow tie or something. People thought, was it like the Lazarus figure or something?
Yeah.
And then a similar thing with these. And it was a little bit peculiar the way they kind of announced that and the way they were handled and the distribution and everything. But nevertheless, I mean, to have these, I think they were like a tenner or so, and those three figures, and they re-released the 10th Doctor TARDIS playset rather randomly at the same time, but I suppose it allowed people to get nice new pristine versions. So they were very nice. It would have been great to have more figures, more varied figures from that era.
Yeah. And I remember this was the time when the whole 5.5 range lexicon came into.
Yes.
We used to just refer it to it as the 5-inch range. But these were bloody huge, weren't they? The Capaldi just towered over.
There is a bit of a peculiar thing with them, I think his shoes...
the shoes are what really
they kind of
boost his height, because I think people noticed it with the first Capaldi release as well. But it became really apparent with this one that the scale had gone a bit out of whack, but we've kind of turned back to normal now. But still lovely. I remember I got this one here, and because I thought, for one reason, for one, I thought that I liked this more simple sort of look, and also I couldn't stand The Girl Who Died, so I didn't want to get anything from that. Actually, but beautiful figures, very nice, and of that, I still love that packaging that they went for in that kind of era of.
All it was again going back to this, all this kind of this style and stuff. There weren't as many items being released, but the packaging for them was very classy, and it kind of it's its own little corner of the figure history. So there we go.
Sweet. I really struggled with 2017.
Yes.
I think. I mean, we had Series 10. We had Series 10, but it kind of felt like there was kind of areas that hadn't been. As explored.
No.
So I went for an item which I remember coming out around the time of this all happening, and it was quite a surprise because it was someone coming back to the show who we never thought we'd see coming back, but in a very different way. So what I've gone for is this beautiful little hardback here.
Yes.
Now we are 600. I can see your copy of it just over there as well.
I dug it out recently, actually.
It's such a beautiful little item. It's obviously a spin on A.A. Milne's Now We Are 6, Winnie the Pooh book.
Sure.
And it featured Russell T Davies coming back, not to write, but to draw. And his drawings are bloody gorgeous. James Goss's writing is fantastic, lots of in-jokes. And what's so lovely as well is because it's based on that Winnie the Pooh book. There's poems in here that I remember my parents reading me and my dad telling me about when I was little, with the Doctor Who spin on it. So there's one about Romana at Rassilon's Palace, which I have memories about of the original version from when I was a kid as well. So it's just beautiful. It's really, really nicely made. I remember Jacob Dudman doing a video around the time of this coming out as well of his impressions as various doctors of this. I remember the videos of Crystal D interviewing Russell and James Goss around the time as well.
Yeah, of course.
Just lots of lovely memories, a beautiful product. But
okay.
There you go.
Very, very nice.
That's what I've gone for. It was a challenging year to try and think of, though. The only other one product I could think of was Ninth Doctor Chronicles. Not for the fact of the set itself, but the fact that I won it as a letter that I wrote for Oxygen.
Sure.
There's a nice story tied to it, but as for an actual product,
maybe not so much.
Maybe not.
No, it's really interesting going back to stuff like that where Russell was involved, and like you say, there are all these interviews, with Crystal, like with Tom Spilsbury, with him and Moffat for when the Targets came out, the first Targets and stuff. Like, he must have had a comeback to Doctor Who kind of a good number of times since he left. Damaged Goods in 2015, and then this in 2017, and the Target Rose in 2018, the lockdown stuff in 2020.
And then I think he came back at some point other than that as well. Maybe did some stuff.
Watch this space. So he's had a number of comebacks. To Doctor Who. He never really went away, I suppose.
No.
I love seeing another string to his bow there with the illustrations and stuff.
Really nice illustrations as well. I remember copying them out in my school planner of like trying to do all his drawings of the Doctors and stuff. Yeah, very cool stuff. So nice year, a bit understated year, but very nice.
Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could say about 2017, but not really. I suppose it was the year we did have our Twice Upon a Time preview screening. I suppose I could have picked the printout of the ticket from that, but that might have been a bit boring. I've still got that. It's like I think the sticker stuck to it as well. Like, did they give us a little sticker to wear? I think. I'm pretty sure mine's got a sticker. Anyway,
I remember taking photos with the TARDIS, and they said, this is the last time this prop is going to be touring around.
Yeah.
And I remember a lot of they did a lot of Radio Times covers that year, if I remember rightly. The one of him with the guitar, and then also the lovely one with him and Bill.
Yes, that's right.
I've still got that one because I was like,
there must have been 3 because there were those at either end of series 10. There was like him against the red background, I think, at Christmas. It was like him in the Twice Upon a Time outfit, looking a bit bastard and stuff.
Yeah.
2017. There we go. That's what it was.
Goodbye Capaldi.
Goodbye Capaldi, and obviously that year, halfway through. Roundabout, we'd had the announcement that Jodie Whittaker would be becoming the Doctor. So 2018, was her year, or at least the second half of the year. With Series 11 going out, and a bit of a merchandise push for that. We had things like the one-off curios, like the Adventure doll, whatever it was called, the 10-inch thing, and Sonic as well. A few bits and pieces there. The thing I've gone for this year, though, is something that came out right at the end of the year, if memory serves. It's just on the shelf here, so I'll get it down.
Oh.
And this will be my first collection set, the first one I bought, season 19. I
can hear it creaking as you picked it up then. I thought it was going to fall apart.
You can tell it's old.
Yeah.
Give it a bit of
whoa!
So, the second one that was released in very early days, I think I spoke about in one of our previous videos how I'd kind of converted to Blu-ray over the course of that year, and so I'd been kind of won round by this whole thing. And of course now we've had over half of the seasons, I think now, haven't we, as box sets?
Yeah, which is mad. Sure. It's mad to think.
I'm still a few
still
sets
missing
behind.
A few, yeah. Still got a few Pertwee one missing.
Season 9 and season 20. I need to get hold of that. Season 15, obviously, of course, most recently. There are, of course, the BFI events. I can tell
you've watched it quite a lot since you got it.
The BFI events that go alongside these now as well.
That's such a nice thing, isn't it? Yeah.
That may or may not come up later on, but certainly with this, I remember actually, it's a bit of a weird one actually, because I was living on a university at the time, and I remember ordering this to my university accommodation, I think, in the wet work with the porters and everything. You had to go and collect it, and so it was a bit of a faff actually getting hold of it. But then I brought it home for the Christmas holiday and watched for it into January and February as well, watching these stories. And it was a really nice one because I'd seen maybe Ooh,
Castrovello,
maybe 3 of these before, I think, or 4 of them maybe. Definitely hadn't seen Time Flight. Definitely hadn't seen Kinder. Maybe not Force Doomsday either, I can't quite recall. But yeah, it's one of those ones where I was able to make that call and say, well, actually, yeah, I can justify
it's worthwhile
buying this as a season, even though I already have some of the stories on DVD.
Time Flight and Force Doomsday make this box set worthwhile.
What a pull, yeah.
There you go.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these sets are fantastic. You know, I haven't picked the most recent ones just because I have already seen the stories, but obviously I will do at some point, and so much love goes into them, and the VAM, the special features and documentaries and things, and the restoration to the episodes. I think this was quite a special case as well, wasn't it? Because there was some film footage they could use for the actual episodes.
Yeah, so the actual restoration is stunning. When it comes to a story like Black Orchid, which was a lot of it was shot on film, it all looks really, really gorgeous. It's proper
HD,
crisp. Yeah. There's episode the Castrovalva
really
stuff.
nice.
It's really stunning. Yeah,
So,
I remember getting that for Christmas as well. I remember ordering it and then putting it aside, saying just wrap this up and give it to me then, because I wanted to save it.
2 Davisons there.
2 Davisons,
From,
a lot of
from
Davisons.
season 19.
From season 19. Season 19 is a big, just saying. I remember, it's funny you said about university accommodation as well, because I remember when the McCoy set came out, I don't think I'd managed, I pre-ordered it, and it almost went out of stock, and I was like, oh crap, I've got to... So I found that you could still get it at Argos, so I got it delivered to an Argos, and I remember walking to that Argos, picking up the package and coming back and not having anything to watch it on, but still just to look at the packaging. Obviously, I've since got rid of all my limited ones, and I'm now on the standard train. But I still love obviously the product, the actual stuff of them themselves, and I still have a lot of appreciation for the work that went into creating them as sets at the time,
And of course, as we were talking about in one of our previous videos, I mean, everything's all on iPlayer these days, but it's still nice to go back to these files. I need to see that more often, really. I've watched them, I think most of them as they've come out, and obviously some of those stories I was watching for the first time as well, like in season 2, for instance, or 17 or whatever.
And also just the special features as well. I mean,
features.
I've been watching Tom Baker years on the season 12 box set recently as well, which is just
I didn't realise that was on. Okay,
it's like on the Sontaran Experiment disc, you can just watch both episodes of Tom Baker trying to roughly make his way through all the episodes of Zero.
I don't think I've actually touched, because they did the second edition of that, didn't they?
I remember that coming out in lockdown and getting that delivered in the height of summer, and it arrived, and I was like,
I don't think I've ever watched any of the discs of that. I really need to
it's a good one.
Go back and remedy that. It's still running to this day, and long may they continue, and you've got a good few number of years left of those sets. So
it's going to be exciting to see how they adapt to the series that are less. They've got less people, less guest actors, less less stories in terms of the 60s ones.
And we heard from Mike Tucker apparently recently that the trailer for the next one is going to come soon, I think.
Okay.
So
couldn't possibly don't have no idea what that's going to be. No idea.
No.
It's exciting. Very exciting. And even though I was like 2 years behind, I think I've only just reached the point where I'm getting sets that. I haven't ever got.
You've probably overtaken me by some
maybe
time soon,
literally.
because
I mean, season 17 is my next one, and I think that's
catching me up.
So it's still exciting to see them more, and obviously like you say, we might be talking about the BFI stuff later down the line as well, but this has got really nice memories attached to it as well. Happy days, happy days.
Start of something special.
Absolutely.
So.
Is it me? Yes, it is me.
Yes.
So 2018. Well, I've already talked about Russell coming back once. It's time to talk about him coming back again, because we got a lovely range of books released in 2018.
Yes,
it was 2018.
Let
me just double check the published date again. I just want to be real. Yes, 2018.
Well, like you were saying, in 2016, the Big Finish 10th Doctor set and 500th issue of Doctor Who magazine, they came out around the time we were doing our GCSEs. I remember these coming out at the time we were doing our A-levels.
Yes,
reading them in between revision and stuff.
And this would have been summer, I think.
I think it was like the Easter, April maybe, Easter holidays kind of time, I think. Yeah.
And I think Rose was the one I ordered. What other ones we had? I think I ordered Day of the Doctor.
Day of the Doctor, so Christmas Invasion, Twice My Time. Which I
got from Paul Cornell.
Go on, I'll bring that out.
Go on, brandish it. Yeah.
The first. God, it's got some yellow marks on it now.
Oh no.
Oh well. Anyway, the point still stands. The first signed copy, I won that from Paul's newsletter. Paul. I think it was. Yeah. So thank you very much for that, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame. Anyway.
Ask him for another one. The second signed copy.
The second signed copy.
Yeah. So, but it was a really exciting time. I think I probably ordered Rose and Day of the Doctor with book vouchers that I'd won from school things. And I remember Rose was the first one I turned to because it was slightly shorter as well, and I was like, I'll read it.
I think I did the same actually, probably. With vouchers and stuff. Yeah.
And it was definitely sunny because I remember sitting outside reading bits of this. It's just so good. I just adore this book. I should probably get the illustrated one that's just come out. You know, they've done it in the style of the Daleks.
Yes.
But it was so nice to have Russell come back to the show for this. It's so well written, so evocative, so warm and cozy. There's so many different levels to this. I love it. I've read it twice, and I look forward to reading it again. I love the covers by Anthony Dry.
Absolutely.
I like the inconsistencies. I like how the fact that you've got the wrong images.
Yeah.
I think that really harkens back to the era of Target books.
Yeah.
And I remember loving them so much that I did like a video on my YouTube channel, like a sort of in the style of like a special features on the DVD about the kind of the book ranges, including clips of interviews and stuff like that. There's a brilliant Mark Gatiss documentary on Radio 4, I think, which I think you can probably find on YouTube somewhere. It's fantastic. You've got clips from Russell, Terrance Dicks, people involved in the Target range.
Goodness.
It's really good. And you've got them reading passages of the books as well. It's a great comfort listen. So yeah, I was on a massive Target high that year, and these just came out at the exact right time. Can't recommend this
I've loved that. I mean, like the lineups we've had each year, I mean, they haven't always been as strong, you know, some years, but that was a really special one to begin with, you know, with that and with the Day of the Doctor.
And Day of the Doctor,
with Russell and Moffat there, and I mean, it's continued. I mean, there was a bit of a gap after that, but then 2020, I want to say, was the next batch, and
what was that?
Dalek stuff like
and Crimson
Horror, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and then we had stuff like Fires of Pompeii, Eaters of Light.
I'll be honest, it has. The excitement has trickled off a little bit for me, just because I think the initial excitement of when you've got your first set of books with Russell,
it was a real
and
moment,
Stephen,
wasn't it? Yeah.
It's like wow, and then it kind of we've still got some of the original authors, but I don't know why the prose just doesn't make me as excited as the stuff that Russell writes and Moffat's stuff. You can hear Moffat's voice in Day of the Doctor, like that is just
very
him.
much so. Yeah,
and obviously the way it's written as well. So it kind of. I think I remember being excited for the second batch, definitely, you know, with the Dalek and you enjoyed Crimson Horror, didn't you?
Yeah, it was.
Was it Witchfinders as well? I've not read that one myself.
Oh, of course, Witchfinders, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to reading the ones that I haven't read. I was talking to you just earlier about how I'm excited to get the 60th novels as well. I think the way that James Goss has done The Giggle looks fascinating. Did you enjoy that one?
It was an experience. Yeah, it was.
Well, that's what I mean. It's
on the
different,
page.
Right?
It's all very like very different. It
because now
it takes you on a journey.
What we look for is that exactly
get into the toy maker's mind and stuff. So,
that's what we look for in Target books now. Is rather than just a straight retelling, you get value in them doing something different. And Russell kind of did that in here by giving a massive insight into characters' heads, adding a few things that the budget couldn't really stretch to in this. Moffat obviously did it in the way of just how he told the story. So stuff like how James has done The Giggle really fascinates me because that's adding something else to it. And you said Wild Beyond is very good as well.
I mean, kind of the opposite of that. I mean, that is kind of more of a straight retelling, but just the way it's done, I think, I really enjoyed that one. The Star Beast by Gary Russell as well, kind of adding little bits and pieces in there, like the milkman from the Stolen Earth returning to have a bigger role, and he kind of gets possessed by the Meep and kind of becomes part of that army of the Psychedelic Sun or whatever it's called. I mean, earlier in that year as well, we had things like The Waters of Mars, Phil Ford back for that, Keith Temple doing Planet of the Ood. Those two in particular I did enjoy. With nice little bits and pieces added in there, like I always say in the Ood one, there's like a sequence in a spa, I think it is, like a swimming pool, where all the visiting like corporate people who are visiting the complex have gone for like a spa treatment thing, and then a swimming pool, and you'd have gone rabid, and they go in there like on all fours with their balls, and they electrocute them through the water.
It sounds fun.
It's stuff like that. You want those bits added in, don't you?
Well, I got someone bought me Waters of Mars for Secret Santa at work, so I'm gonna. That's the next one on my list to read, and then if I enjoy that one, I'll give Planet of the Ood a go, and obviously the anniversary novels as well. I'm really excited.
I don't know what the future is for them, because I think if we were getting a batch this summer, they'd have been announced by now. So I'm not too sure
whether we're going to get shooty ones.
Maybe some shooty ones, and I guess they wouldn't have announced those yet.
But Russell said that they're definitely happening. I don't know where.
I think so. I mean, we've had Church on Ruby Road, obviously, but I think he said there are a few of some of them are being novelised, which would suggest more than one. I need to read Church on Ruby Road, actually. I haven't read that one yet. The one thing I will say about, I was looking through a copy in Food and Planet or something, and I said to you, didn't I, that I turned to the last page or whatever, and it's like the last line, I can't remember if this is before or after the Mrs. Flood bit, but like the last line was like, Ruby went off to start the rest of her life, which is fine, but like
it should have ended on I'm the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor. Exactly. That is the final word. I mean, Mrs. Flood aside in that episode. But no, that's much love to the author of that one, and I look forward to reading that either if I get the hardback or wait till the inevitable paperback.
Wait.
I'll probably do both eventually, but
lovely time. And just a quick shout out to another item that I could have included: the Vorp brochure. It must have been the first one, 2018.
It would. I was thinking about that really recently, because that was the one where Sophie Aldred was there, wasn't it? I think.
Sophie, Nicola Bryant, Peter, Paul.
We met them, and you met some of the Doctors, and I was remembering how we heard Sophie on a panel. I think I don't know whether we were there for the whole thing, but we went into one of these bars where the panels were taking place,
which is so weird walking past those places now when I'm in Manchester. Totally. And I'm like we were listening to Peter Davison talk about Time Crash.
That's and there's people getting we heard.
People getting drunk and doing God knows what.
No, totally. But I was remembering how we caught some of that panel of Sophie, and I remember her saying, I've just I won't try and do her voice, but I've just done the audiobook for one of the Jodie stories, and I'm really looking forward to Jodie as the Doctor and stuff. And then fast forward, obviously, how many years later, 4 years later, and she's there in her final story, and little did we know at the time that was how it was going to how it was all going to happen.
Little did we know.
Back around like that. Yeah. So very, very nice. I mean, we jest, but there were lots of positive things about those events.
Yeah. Well, that first one was
more local, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. That first one was. They had its teething issues, but it was certainly very special, and the second one was lovely as well, which must have been 2019.
Yes, it would have been, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So just a little shout out to those, because we don't get much up north, so that was a lovely time.
Yeah.
And I think, had COVID not happened, it probably would have continued a bit. Lovely stuff. 2019.
Goodness, we're on to our final year of this one already.
The last pre-pandemic year.
The last pre-pandemic year.
Yeah.
So I guess again a bit of a gap year for Doctor Who on television. We had Resolution obviously on New Year's Day, but then had to wait a whole year for Series 12.
God, do you remember that announcement thing? It was like that picture of the TARDIS, and it said, "And Doctor Who will not be returning this year."
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
It wasn't what you want.
No.
But nevertheless, the first half of that year, it was very much the aftermath of Series 11, for better or worse, depending on your mileage there, and a part of that. So we didn't get the figures or anything until later on. Really, we had the Jodie figure, tail end of 2018, I think, the 5-inch one, and we had the DVD and Blu-ray and still look and everything, obviously. But one of the other things that we had. off the back of Series 11 was the soundtrack.
Of course you picked this. Yeah.
And yeah, like you were saying about the Murray soundtracks, you know, in our childhood and stuff, and I totally agree with that as well. Like they're a big part of like soundtracking our childhoods. This holds a very special place in my heart because it kind of like soundtracked. So part of my first year of university, and like commuting to university and sort of being on the journey, like on the train and the bus and stuff, and just walking around my university city. I won't dox myself, but like, yeah, with that in my headphones or whatever it was at the time, and it's all kind of like intertwined with that time, and I remember getting so much out of this music, and particularly as well, a bit later on, kind of picking up on all the themes and stuff, and I think Sagan's stuff is really still quite underrated, I would say, and even people that aren't as much of a fan of the episodes or the era or stuff, you know, there is an awful lot to enjoy if you like that kind of the logic of how those things work, like themes and spotting them and the way there's very much a logic to his music, which is very satisfying to listen to, and I guess the kind of the more ambient sort of background music type nature to this made it perfect for doing stuff like walking around, being on the bus, being on the train or whatever. So it holds a very special place in my heart.
And they did that really interesting thing of not putting it in episode order, but doing it kind of futuristic and historical. They kind of,
absolutely.
It felt like Sagan had gone, no, I want to make this an album. I don't want to make this just a kind of,
like kind of a listening experience.
Yeah,
I suppose,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Because which makes sense. You don't want to go a jarring experience going from a space kind of age one to suddenly like violins of, you know, it kind of kind of flows a bit more, I guess.
Even so, one of the first things I did when I got this was like make a playlist of putting it all in order, like with the class thing I was discussing earlier. But I mean, both make for great listening experiences, and I mean, obviously there were the soundtracks after this as well, and I could have picked any number of those, any of them really, but this is where it will start. This was the most special one, I think.
Do you think that's your favourite soundtrack of all the Doctor Who, like including Murray Gold and everything?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
But do a video of top 10 soundtracks.
Certainly. But in terms of the ones that hold a special place in my heart, in terms of the Sagan ones, I mean, like it was nice having the Series 12 one in lockdown and stuff, and in COVID. But I always felt like it was a shame that I couldn't have that same thing with that soundtrack of. That soundtrack.
Wow.
But with the Series 12 soundtrack, it was always a shame that I never had that same thing of being able to listen to it on commutes and stuff, because no one was going anywhere because we were all in our houses. And then like the Flux soundtrack and obviously the Specials one, they came later, but that was at a bit of a later point in my life. So I was still listening to them, but it was.
But not as
this one was the one where I was literally like on a daily basis and stuff.
Yeah. Where's the Series 10 soundtrack?
Where's
the Series 10?
Series 10, I don't really get what's I think Murray has just kind of overstretched himself. Hasn't he? Like he's wrongly or rightly, he's so tied up on the main show at the moment, and even like the 60th soundtrack, I'd love to have that.
Of course,
I've been listening to that.
Keep forgetting that.
On trips down to London and like walking around London listening to like, the Giggle soundtrack. It really again like those moments of synchronicity where like it just comes along at the right time, and you're doing that kind of thing, and you feel like you're in the story almost.
When we walk around Camden, I just kept hearing that little bit in my head. If you know when he's at the Steelworks and he's got Sonic out and it's the Doctor's theme. Ooh, it's really chills. I love that. I love that era so much. There's a lot of love for that. I'd love to.
So hopefully, I mean, I don't know. I guess the fact that we haven't had a 60th one already means that maybe even the new stuff isn't going to come out. You know, because that was always the great thing about these is how relatively. I think like the Flux one took a bit longer, but like like this came out pretty much the week after, I think, like Resolution or something. It was really quick. And
whereas Series 8 had come out like just at the end of Series 10 or something ridiculous. You know, there was a real delay.
I think
Series 9.
I think Series 8 was a little bit sooner, but Series 9,
Series 9 came out in Jodie
That was
Zero.
like with the Jodie. Well, I think it was like just before, wasn't it? It was with that style guy. It was that just
baffling.
Yeah,
really bizarre. Anyway,
but there we go.
2019.
Finalised.
So 2019 is an interesting one because I kind of struggled thinking of what items really captured me. So I've decided to go for one that kind of encapsulates another aspect that we haven't really chatted about just yet, but one that's very bougie and very lovely. I've gone for the Steelbook of Series 4. So this was the first one that I got as it was released. I missed Series 1. I got Series 2, I think, later down the line. Series 3 I missed out on because I think there's a whole controversy over the cover art. Like, no one likes it.
That's correct.
But then when Series 4 came out, I thought, well, I've got to have a slice of my one of my favourite eras. And it kind of, weirdly, I have more memories associated with this from the year that followed it in lockdown.
Okay.
Because obviously we had all the
watch-alongs.
Tweet-alongs, yeah. So I would turn to this to watch. Would have been obviously Stolen Earth and Journey's End, and I think there's a Partners in Crime one at some point as well.
Yes,
they're just I mean, lovely collector's items, very nice. This is one that I'll always keep hold of because it's very nicely done. We've met Sophie Caldery.
That was at Vorp.
That was at Vorp, wasn't it? Yeah. Speaking of, so it's nice to have an official product that she's had a hand in. I got a little print of a Tennant portrait from her.
Yes, when we went to I've got a few stuff on the wall over there.
Yeah, didn't you get? You got the Capaldi one and the Whisker ones. But they're lovely little items and so condensed so nice as well. Oh, maybe just cover that one up. Very weird choice of images sometimes. It's like, I get that, Astrid for the Voyage of the Damned disc with the ones. Sontarans make sense, but then it's just like, why put him on there?
They're different. Cause they're laid out slightly different, aren't they? The DVD discs, because you can fit more episodes on Blu-ray discs. Can't you? So maybe that's kind of part of it. Just like thought, what the hell? We'll just pick whoever we want.
It's very odd, but it is what it is. What it is. But beautiful items. I really love them.
Steelbooks.
You're obviously a big collector of the Steelbooks. I'm looking up at the full collection of every single Steelbook. Is that right?
Mine's Flux now.
Mine is Flux. Oh, okay.
Again, a similar thing like with the artwork. It wasn't that the artwork was bad.
But it was a Series 11.
It was a Series 11 image. I just thought,
why?
You have images to pick, to use of her from Flux.
Could have done her in a
season,
Flux,
3 years later.
Inverted Flux costume, or
so many possibilities.
But
I mean, they were a real moment in time. And obviously, we had things like the Series 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 ones and up to the 60th ones that came out alongside the standard DVD and Blu-ray. But kind of beginning with that Series 1 and going all the way up to Series 8, wasn't it? They kind of came out over a number of years around that time. And
but there was a time, I think it was after Series 3, it suddenly seemed
there was a bit of a gap.
Maybe they're not doing these anymore. So which is why this was such a nice surprise.
Yes,
because it was kind of like, phew, they're still going to keep doing these. And
like you say, I mean, I think I kind of made a point with pretty much all of them of watching some, if not all, of the episodes again in that format, especially when you got to things like the specials in Series 5 and Series 6. I wasn't 100% sure whether I'd seen them in HD before, because just because of watching them on TV back in 2010 and stuff. I don't know what which, whether on BBC or BBC HD or whatever. It was one of those things where you just don't know and you don't remember. You don't think about that kind of stuff as a kid, but it's nice to kind of go back to them now and the restored versions of the earlier ones, even though there are some issues with the sound and stuff that were corrected for that the syncing thing as well. Isn't there like a frame rate thing that was for Series 1 to 4 that was corrected for that new one, I think.
And also I think that some of them played at a slower speed as well.
Yeah, you'd sometimes look at the runtime sometimes and there'd be like a different
few minutes.
And it's because they've kind of done something funny with the frame rate. I don't know, but they fixed that for that other release, I think.
Yeah, which I'm tempted by. I'll be honest. Just because it'd be nice to have a good condensed version of all that. It's just the cover art wasn't as exciting as I'd hoped.
No, they had a real opportunity there to do something special.
Yeah, and obviously fans took to doing their own, and they are so much better. Lovely little shout out to the Steelbook range. Whether any will pop up later down the line for you, I don't know. We'll see, I suppose.
Yeah. Maybe, who knows?
Do you want to whip out your Series 9 or?
Yeah, go on then.
Just an excuse to show it off. It is fairly nice.
A recent acquisition.
Yeah, it is lovely.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous.
Crown jewels.
Yeah.
But not acquired in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, that's those.
Again,
that's
lovely,
that.
Lovely spread of merch there. Two of Russell's comebacks, 2 season 19 items.
Yeah, it's all got a bit of synergy to it, really,
yeah,
hasn't
a
it?
few character bits. And then
lots of nice Jodie logos starting to emerge into the frame.
Which brings us to our final part of this now, which will be the next video.
Gosh,
so
it's the final one. Yeah,
the final one. Yeah. Until we do the revised and expanded edition in like a number of years' time. So let us know what your items would be for 2016, 17, 18 and 19 if you're playing along at home, and your memories of merchandise and the show in those years as well. Otherwise stay tuned for other stuff. Go and check out the other parts of the series, our season 1 predictions video as well, and all that stuff, and stay tuned to both channels for more exciting stuff in the future.
Yeah.
But until then, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.